All right, guys, you have this new article in front of you. It is titled Why College Isn't and Shouldn't Have to Be for Everyone. So, this is the opposite of the other article. So, the other article was about why college is worth it. This is going to discuss the opposite argument or the counter argument, why it's not necessarily for everyone. So, as you can see, my title and my paragraphs are highlighted. So go ahead and do that now. Pick up your highlighter, highlight the title and every paragraph. Do that now. All right, so now that you have highlighted everything, we're going to get started reading this. Just like the other article, you have these boxes here with who, what, where, when, why, and how. So it's going to be your job to fill those in today. So last one I did it with you. This time I'm going to ask that you do some on your own. All right, so you're going to take the same idea that we did and apply it to these boxes. I'm not going to tell you everything you need to highlight. So don't be afraid about being wrong. Just do your best, okay? So we already know this article is about why college isn't worth it. So let's read the first chunk and you'll highlight things or pieces of evidence, I should say, that support the idea that college is not for everyone and it shouldn't have to be for everyone. And when we say college, we're really talking about a 4-year college, right? So we talked about a 4-year college, a 2-year college, and trade schools or technical schools. So this article is really going to focus on why a 4-year college, getting your bachelor's degree or your master's degree, isn't and shouldn't have to be for everyone. All right, so follow along. Paragraph 1. I know a high school senior who's so worried about whether she'll be accepted at the college of her choice she can't sleep. The parent of another senior tells me he stands at the mailbox for an hour every day waiting for a hoped for acceptance letter to arrive, which means when you apply to college, right? They will send you a letter in the mail that tells you that you have been accepted or that you have been denied. So that's what he's referencing there. So parents are also uptight. I've heard of some who have stopped socializing with other parents of children competing for admission to the same university. Competition for places top brand colleges is absurdly intense. Paragraph 2. With inequality at record levels and almost all economic gains going to the top, meaning the rich people are just getting richer and everyone else is kind of either losing money or staying the same, there's more pressure than ever to get the golden ring. A degree from a prestigious university can open doors to elite business schools and law schools, and to jobs paying hundreds of thousands, if not millions, a year. So, parents who can afford it are paying grotesque sums to give their kids an edge. They enhance their kids' resumes with such things as bassoon lessons, trips to preserves the wildlife in Botswana, internships at Atlantic Monthly. They hire test preparation coaches. They arrange for consultants to help their children write compelling essays on college applicants. All right, so paragraph 3 is really talking about what parents do to help their kids get to college. And he's saying that they pay a lot of money to make sure that their kid looks really, really good. They look like they're the best student ever, right? But the parent is just really paying money to make them look that way. In paragraph 4, they make generous contributions to the elite colleges they once attended, to which their kids are applying, colleges that give extra points to, quote, legacies, and even more to those from wealthy families that donate tons of money. You might call this an affirmative action for the rich. Okay, so this first chunk was about really what parents are doing to help their kids get into colleges, right? Because they feel like there's a lot of pressure that they need to live up to. So maybe their parents went to a really good college and they really want their kids to do that. So they're trying to do all that they can do to make sure that their kid uh, can go to the college that they want and that they'll look like a good student. All right. So that's what that chunk was about. So at this point, I want you to go ahead and fill in this box. So who or what was this about? What did they do? Where? When? Why or how? Okay, so fill this box in just like we did last time, only about paragraphs 1 through 4. So go ahead and do that now. All right, now I want you to go through paragraph 1 through 4 and highlight pieces of evidence or sentences that show what parents are doing to help get their kids into college. So for each paragraph, I want you to try to find one sentence, one piece of evidence that shows what parents are doing to help their kids get into college. All right, so go ahead and do that now. Okay, now that you've found your pieces of evidence, I want you to go through those same paragraphs, and I'm going to give you one word in each paragraph, and then I want you to look it up on Google, look up what it means, and I want you to write right next to the word a different word that you could use that you would understand to replace that word, okay? So in this first paragraph, let's look at some words that you may not know. And even if you do know, I want you to still look it up and replace it with the word that you will know. So the first one I want you to highlight or circle is the word socializing. All right, so go on Google and look up what that word means. And then to the side over here, just write a replacement word. What could you replace that word with so it made sense to you? Okay, in the next paragraph, I want you to look up this word here that says prestigious. So I want you to look up that word and replace it with the word that you will understand. In paragraph 3, I want you to look up this word here. It says grotesque. So the way you say that word is grotesque. Look up that word and find out what it means and replace it with the word that you understand. And in paragraph 4, I want you to look up this word here that says contributions, okay? And replace it with the word that you understand. So you have those 4 words. Look them up on Google or dictionary.com. Well, actually, that's only 3 words. I forgot prestigious. So look up those 4 words and replace them with the words you understand. So go ahead and do that now. All right, now that you've done that, right here on the side, right next to your box, you have an empty space here. I want you to write one sentence identifying the central idea, just like we did last time, okay? So right here next to your box, you're going to write the central idea of this chunk is, and then you're going to use the information you have in your box to write one sentence over here about what this chunk is about. So go ahead and do that now. All right, now that you've finished that, we're going to go on to the next chunk. So paragraph 5, here we go. Follow along and make sure you're listening so that we can make sure that we understand this chunk. So the first chunk was about parents and what they were doing to make sure that their kids get in college. So let's go paragraph 5. The same intensifying competition is affecting mid-range colleges and universities that are doing everything they can to burnish their own brands, competing with other mid-range institutions to enlarge their applicant pools, attract good students, and inch upward on the U.S. News college rankings. Every college president wants to increase the ratio of applications to admissions, thereby becoming more elite. So that paragraph is saying that even colleges are trying to get more and more people to apply so that their college can look good, right? So if a college has 1 million people apply because they want to go there, that college looks really important, like they're doing something right. So colleges, so we read about parents, what parents are doing. Now it says that colleges are also doing a lot of stuff to make sure that their colleges look good. All right, paragraph 6. Excuse me, but this is nuts. The biggest absurdity is that a 4-year college degree has become the only gateway into American middle class. But not every young person is suited for 4 years of college. And that's what I've told you guys, right? Not every person, this is a good sentence here. I would highlight it if I were you. Not every young person is suited for 4 years of college. Some of you may not like school. Some of you will not do well. So that's just, you'll figure that out as you get older. Do you want to even go to 4-year college? All right, so let's pick it up there. They may be bright and ambitious, but they don't get much out of it. They'd rather be doing something else like making money or painting murals. So we have also talked about that, right? You can maybe go work somewhere else and get some money rather than going to college and and being bored or hating every second of it. Paragraph 7. They feel, so they as students, compelled to go to college because they've been told over and over that college degree is necessary. Yet if they start college and then drop out, they feel like total failures. Even if they get the degree, they're stuck with a huge bill and maybe paying down their student debt for years. And we read that in the last article, how expensive college can be, right? So if you go to college for 4 years, you could be left with $80,000 of debt that you would have to pay down, right? And maybe you didn't even like it. So something to really think about. Paragraph 8. All too often, the jobs they land after graduating don't pay enough to make the degree worthwhile. That's another good piece of information, right? The jobs that you may get after graduating will not even make you enough money to pay off the debt that you created. Here's a good piece of evidence. Last year, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, 46% of recent college graduates were in the jobs that didn't even require college degrees. So that's important, right? So almost half of the people who graduate end up working in a job that didn't even require college. So what's the point of going to college if your job didn't even require it? So that's what that paragraph is saying. All right, paragraph 9. The biggest frauds are for-profit colleges that are raking in money even as their students drop out and whose diplomas are barely worth the inkjets they're printed on. America clings to the conceit that 4 years of college are necessary for everyone and looks down its nose at people who don't have college degrees. All right, so this paragraph is saying that because America, all your teachers, your parents, everyone tells you that you should go to college and that's the only way to live, that we begin to start looking down on people who don't want to go to college. And that shouldn't be the case, right? Like I said, some people just don't like it or don't really want to go. And we shouldn't look down on them because of that. All right? So, just like last time, I want you to fill this in. So, what or who was this chunk about? What do they do? Where, when, and why or how is that happening? All right, so go ahead and fill that in now. All right, now same thing. We're going to go over some vocabulary words I want you to look up on your own. You're going to find these words online and what they mean and just replace them with a new word that you will understand. Okay, so the first one that we're going to go on to is burnish. So I want you to look up this word here and replace it with a word that you will understand. Paragraph 6. I'm going to choose the word here, ambitious. So we'll look up that word and replace it with the word that you understand. Paragraph 7. This is an important word. They feel compelled. So what does it mean when a student feels compelled to go to college because they've been told over and over? Okay, replace that word with the word that you can easily understand. All right, and then we're going to go to paragraph 9. We're going to skip 8, go down to paragraph 9. Frauds. I want you to replace that word. What does it mean if something is fraud or fraudulent? All right, go ahead and look up those words and replace them with a word that you understand. Okay, so you finished looking up those words. Now you're going to go through paragraphs 5 through 9. And if you haven't done so already, highlight one piece of evidence in those paragraphs that show why maybe college or why kids are feeling pressured or why it's not really the best option for some people. Okay, so go through these paragraphs and highlight a sentence and identify it as a piece of evidence. So on the right-hand side, once you highlight it, so for example, let's say you highlighted not every young person is suited for a 4-year college. To the right side over here, you're going to write evidence. Okay, so that you know what it is. So you're looking for evidence that shows why college isn't for everyone or why kids are always feeling pressured to go. So go ahead and do that now. Okay, so now that you've done that, once again, to the right side of your box, you're going to write one sentence that identifies the central idea of the chunk we just read. So right here, in this blank space, you're going to write the central idea of this chunk is, and you're going to use the information that you came up with in the box to write one sentence. What is that chunk about? Go ahead and do that now. All right, so good job. Let's go ahead and continue on. Paragraph 10. This has to stop. Young people need an alternative. So that means they need choices, right? That alternative should be a world-class system of vocational technical education. A four-year college degree isn't necessary for many of tomorrow's good jobs. So, vocational technical education, I'm going to just have you highlight that now. That's basically what we've been talking about, trade schools or tech schools, right? Those schools where you learn a specific skill or job. Okay, so that's what this article is saying. That you guys, when you go to college, you need an alternative. Maybe you don't want to go to four-year college, you need an option to go to another school, and that's the kind of school we're talking about here. So, paragraph 11. For example, the emerging economy will need platoons of technicians able to install, service, and repair all the high tech machinery, filling up hospitals, offices, and factories, and people who can upgrade the software embedded in almost every gadget you buy. So, yeah, exactly. So, uh, we have Chromebooks at school, we have all this type of technology. There needs to be people or technicians who can go and fix all that stuff, right? If you guys are just going to school, to college just to learn math, to learn science, but you're not learning, we don't have people who can fix things, right? We're going to be in a bad place. So, paragraph 12. Today, it's even hard to find a skilled plumber or electrician, right? We talked about that. It's hard to get. So, if you become one of these, you're probably going to be very much needed and you can make some good money. And it may sound weird, right? Fixing sinks and fixing toilets, fixing lights. But if you can learn that skill, you will always be needed because we always will have toilets, lights, sinks that need to be fixed. All right, yet the vocational and technical education now available to young Americans is typically underfunded and inadequate and often too denigrated as being for losers. So we have created this idea that if you go to a school like that, right, where you learn a skill to be an electrician or a plumber, that society would think, oh, that person's a loser because they didn't go to college. But in actuality, those people make a lot of money and sometimes make more money than people who went to college, right? Now, when it says here that it's being underfunded, that means that our government or our cities aren't putting enough money into schools that will teach you how to be a plumber because we are so focused on getting kids into four-year colleges. All right, paragraph 13. These programs should be creating winners. Germany, whose median wage, so that means in Germany with the average money that they make, is higher than ours, giving many of its young people world-class technical skills that have made Germany a world leader in fields such as precision manufacturing. So I think I told you this. In Germany, they will ask you when you're in middle school, what type of skill would you like to learn? So maybe as a seventh grader, you like to learn about uh, being a mechanic or working on electricity or working on a computer. They will teach you that because they have world class programs that will work with kids at a young age. Paragraph 14. A world class technical education doesn't have to mean young people's fates are determined when they're 14. Instead, rising high school seniors could be given the option of entering a program that extends a year or two beyond high school and ends with a diploma acknowledging their technical expertise. So, what it's saying is that maybe when you're in high school, uh, you can pick a skill and then you can learn it. By the time you're graduating high school, maybe the year after that, you're done with the program. So at least if you don't want to go to college, you at least have a skill and a diploma that you can show people when you want to get a job that shows that, hey, I know how to be a plumber, or hey, I can work on cars, right? But all of you guys are going to graduate college or high school, I mean, without having anything except your high school diploma that just shows that you pass math, English, history, and science for 4 years, right? But you don't have any real life skills that you can take into any type of job. All right, paragraph 15. Community colleges, the underappreciated crown jewel of America's feeble attempts at equal opportunity, could be developing this curricula. Community colleges are two-year colleges like San Bernardino Valley College. Businesses could be advising on the technical skills they need and promising jobs to young people who complete their degrees with good grades. So now it's talking about maybe community colleges could build those skills, or even businesses. Like I said, maybe if Apple went to your high school and said, "Hey, we'll teach you how to make a new software for the iPhone, as long as you come work for us when you're done." But a lot of the businesses are not doing that. So we have a lot of kids who are not getting skills that they could possibly get, like they are getting in Germany. Paragraph 16, government could be investing enough money to make these programs thrive as well, raising taxes on top incomes enough to temper the wild competition for admissions elite colleges. So that paragraph saying that the government could also take money from the rich people, right? So let's think of like millionaires and billionaires, maybe tax them some more. So take some of their money and invest it in colleges where kids like yourselves can learn a skill at a young age. Paragraph 17. Instead, we continue to push most of our young people through a single funnel called a 4-year college. That's a nice sentence. I would highlight that if I were you. It's saying that we continue to ignore those skills and just want to push you. You need to go to college. You need to go to college. And some of you don't want to go. A funnel so narrow it's causing applicants and their parents excessive stress and worry about getting in. That's too often ill suited and unnecessary and far too expensive. And that can cause college dropouts to feel like failures for the rest of their life. It's time to give up on the idea that every young person has to go to college and start offering high school seniors an alternative route into the middle class. All right? So this was quite a few paragraphs, right? And it was mostly about giving kids options, right? It was about making sure that they have different options instead of a 4-year college only. So it talked about, making sure that you have programs to be a plumber or to work on computers and maybe giving that to you while you're still in high school. So in this box, you're going to do this again. What was this about? What did they do? Where? When did this happen? And why is it happening? All right, so go ahead and fill that box in now. All right, now that you've done that, you're going to do this one more time with vocabulary. And don't worry, I'm not going to give you a word in every paragraph. We're just going to focus on some of the most important words that you want to look up and replace, okay? So the first one we're going to look at is manufacturing. So look up that word and replace it with the word that you understand. And then we're going to go down to feeble. That's a funny sounding word. So look up that word and replace it with the word that you understand. And lastly, we're gonna highlight. Let's see, which one can we give you here? Thrive. I like that word. Look up that word thrive and replace it with the word that you understand. Go ahead and do that now. All right. So your last thing is you're going to write what the central idea is. So once again, on the side of your box, or you can do it underneath your box, you're going to write the central idea of this chunk is, and then you're going to use the information from here that you should have filled out already to complete that sentence. So what was this chunk about? What were these last 6 paragraphs about? And you're going to write that sentence there. Once you've done that, raise your hand. I'll come look at it and make sure that you're correct, or at least almost there. But I'm sorry, the last thing you want to do as well is go back through those paragraphs and highlight pieces of evidence that support your central idea. Okay, you don't have to highlight one in every paragraph, but you should probably get at least 3 pieces of evidence out of there that support the idea about making technical schools more available to kids instead of forcing them to 4-year colleges. All right, so once you've done that, raise your hand, I'll come look at it, and then we'll move on from there. So good job.